Hello, my amigos. Welcome one, welcome all. It's time for another exciting edition of the show with no name on Vaughn Radio. So, folks, buckle up, poned esos cinturones, because it's time for liftoff.
T-minus 10,
9, 8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2.
1,
Come on,
0.
come on.
Ignition.
We
Liftoff.
got this.
Liftoff. 30 minutes after the hour.
Get ready. Hold on to your hats. Strap on your seatbelt. Fasten your seatbelts. Hold on to your hats. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time on Vaughn Radio. It's the show with no name. It's the show. Let's go.
That's right, my amigos. Welcome to the start of another exciting week. Or maybe I should say kickoff, since we are smack dab in the middle of the World Cup. Whether you're soccer fans or not, I think the whole world is watching. Even though, we should say it, it's quite controversial this year. I mean, just the fact that the World Cup is taking place in December? I mean, what are we, nuts? Have we lost our minds? Well, I think the expression, anytime there's a crime in English, we say 3 words: follow the money. O sea, el rastro del dinero. Whoever made money, that's usually the culprit. And this is a similar word, culpable, culprit. Se escribe en inglés C-U-L-P-R-I-T. The culprit, the one to blame. Well, folks, welcome to another exciting edition of today's show. And we are pushing closer to Christmas every second. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Alberto, you are a real pain in the ass. I know. You can say real, o también se puede decir royal, como real, de la familia real. You are a royal pain in the ass with this Christmas stuff. Well, you know what I've got to say to you? Bah humbug. What? Bah humbug. What is that? Well, that's what Scrooge says. I think it was pamplinas or something he says in Spanish. In English, it's bah humbug. If you don't like Christmas, it's not my problem. I'm going to use it as, just like everything, as an opportunity to teach you English. As always, using Christmas carols. We've done this all throughout the years. It's become a show with no name tradition. And we'll do it soon. In fact, we'll do it tomorrow's a holiday, I believe. So maybe Wednesday. Do you guys want to do some Christmas carols on Wednesday? I can't even pronounce it. On Wednesday? I can, obviously. I got tongue-tied. Se me traba la lengua. But let's look at that word, because I've heard a lot of students mispronounce that, and not because they got tongue-tied. It's not Wednesday. It's Wednesdays. Vamos a oír esas zetas americanas ahí. Wednesday. Say it with me. Wednesday Adams. All right. Are you guys ready for your first challenge of today? Let's do it. It's time for today's pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. Let's go. Pop
quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz.
That's right. That's right, guys. If you're watching me on the live stream, it's crazy. It happens to me all the time. I'm looking at the screen, but obviously I'm seeing it in reverse. So I was just trying to point at the Spanish flag and the American flag, and I couldn't do it. I looked like the scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. You know, which way did he go? That way. And his arms, yeah, that's what I just did. By the way, if you guys want to watch these shows, you can tune in on the live stream. But if you want to make sure you never, ever miss a show, download the Vaughn Radio app. Also, you can listen to the shows wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, if you're still doing your Christmas shopping, which I imagine some of you haven't even started yet, let's be honest, there's a little procrastinator inside of all of us, somebody who puts things off. But if you haven't done it, now's a good time. Hey, I've been warning you for the last 2 weeks. I know. Okay, maybe I jumped the gun. Yo me adelanté un poco. Excellent expression, to jump the gun. But just think, sometimes it takes a week, 2 weeks to get things. At Christmas, everything slows down, the delivery. So you might want to go over to Vaughn Tienda and pick up some materials. And remember, you can get them delivered. We have this book is the Remilk, as you guys know, has been redone. The book is the same. The content is the same. It's got a new title. It's got a new cover and brand spanking new audio. It's awesome. I think so. We had fun recording it. There's a lot of content in there that's not in the book.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live from the funeral.
Señoras y señores, nos dirigimos a ustedes desde el funeral real.
What a sad day it is, for this book is the Remilk.
Es un día triste para This Book is the Remilk.
It is a book that was loved by many and will be missed by all.
Es un libro que fue adorado por muchos y será extrañado por aún más.
But don't fret, no, don't worry,
Pero no se preocupen,
because the Remilk will be reborn
porque This Book is the Remilk volverá a nacer
with a new name, a new cover, and brand new audio.
con un nuevo nombre, una nueva portada y ahora con audio.
It's called This Book is the Milk 2.
Se llama This Book is the Milk 2
And it will usher in a new age.
y nos adentrará en una nueva era.
All hail! This book is the Milk 2, the new leader.
¡Viva This Book is the Milk 2, el nuevo rey!
Long live! This book is the Milk 2.
¡Larga vida al nuevo rey! This Book is the Milk 2.
That's right. Thank you, Damian, for those lovely translations. That's right, folks. You can get tons of different materials, from grammar-based books to more like fun and crazy books like mine. I mean, there's one thing they all have in common. They're excellent resources. You'll learn from all of them. And of course, not just our books, but also by following us on social media, which will also help you in our pop quiz. And today's pop quiz has to do with, you guessed it. You know what? I think I'm even going to give you a drum roll. Today's pop quiz has to do with you guessed it, Christmas. Yeah, well, guys, don't worry. It'll be over soon. If you don't like Christmas, just, in the blink of an eye. Hey, there's a good expression. En un abrir y cerrar de los ojos, I think you say, in the blink of an eye, it'll be done. And then it'll be a new year and you can find something else to complain about. I'm just kidding. All right, well, let's pick up where we left off. Do you know this expression? This is a very common teacher expression. Vamos a retomar donde lo hemos dejado. Tomorrow we'll pick up where we left off. So let's get a beat going. You know I like my beats. Yeah. Here we go. Christmas quiz, part 2. We looked at tons of vocabulary already that has to do with Christmas. We said tinsel. We said tinsel, which is espumillón. Hollywood is Tinseltown. We looked at that last week on the show. All right, here we go, folks. You can participate here in the comments, and we'll see how you do on Christmas Quiz Part 2. Here we go. Los Reyes Magos in English are called... And thanks to you guys, all I have in my head and in my house is, Ya vienen los Reyes Magos, ya vienen. I got to be honest with you. Okay, the Mariah Carey song can be a pain in the ass. But at least it's not like kids, she's got a good voice. You get what I'm saying? So the other one, I believe you could use the Reyes Magos song as like torture. Maybe they've used it over at Guantanamo. Hey, I don't know. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just because of the high pitch thing. All right, so Los Reyes Magos are called in English. I'll go through the list and then we'll check them, all right? The next thing, if you misbehave, if you're a bad boy, if you're naughty, he's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Yo, he's making a list. He's checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Santa Claus is coming to town. Naughty and nice. Hey, look at that. Y de ahí también aprendemos to make a list. Not just, we don't say to do a list. We say to make a list. So thanks, Santa. So if you're a bad boy or a bad girl, if you're naughty, que también puede tener una connotación sexual. Why not? You'll know. Listen to the tone. What do you get when you're naughty? That black substance. All right, the next one. What are those round things that you hang on the Christmas tree? Remember, to put up the Christmas tree is ponerlo. We don't say to put it. We say to put it up. Porque lo estamos, no? Es... And then we take it down. Siempre es bueno ver antonyms. So what are those called? Me encanta. Aquí una de las opciones are Santa's balls. If you say Santa's balls, we're going to have a problem. That sounds really weird. All right. We have 2 different ways we call him. I just gave you one, Santa or Santa Claus. That's how we say it in the United States. And we got Mrs. Claus. Don't forget about Mrs. Claus. And don't forget about those sentence clauses. Okay, grammar joke. Warning, grammar joke. So what do the British call Santa or Santa Claus? Next one. Oh, it's fun to make these. Muñeco de nieve, you say in Spanish. I also like making snow angels. Do you guys do that here in Spain? Los Ángeles, ¿qué haces en la nieve? You move your arms and legs, and you make like, you stretch them out all the way they can, and you make an angel in the snow. Those are called snow angels, logically, but muñeco de nieve, how would we say that? Okay, the next one. Renos. By the way, there's a city in Nevada called Reno, que se escribe igual que Reno, pero se pronuncia Reno, Nevada. Also known for gambling, el juego, just like Las Vegas, nearby, que no está lejos. So what are those called? The ones that help Santa out. I'm not talking about the little guys, the elves. Nope. I'm talking about those little guys that help Santa out. Pulling the sleigh. To pull, tirar, or llevar, the sleigh. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows like a light bulb. All of the other reindeers used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Oh, how the reindeer loved him and shouted out with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. Hey, my mom, of course, my mom knows that one. My daughter knows that one too. She loves Rudolph. Oh, yeah. All right, next one. Hit a little rap break in there. I can't help it. I hear a beat and I just want to flow. All right, papel de regalo. Something, it's half the fun, I think, is opening up a present. It's not just the present, and I mean, the presents are always nice, but half the fun is opening it up, right? I think so. The surprise, the ripping that, casi lo digo. I'll leave that one in your hands. Then there's something, the next question. This is our Christmas quiz part 2. We did part 1 last week. I gave you a little break, and I gave you time to practice it. What is this thing that you put on the door? It's round, and it's like pieces of tree with some pine cones in it. I mean, you can decorate it however you want. Sometimes there's a bow, un lazo. What would you call that? In Spanish, you call it una corona, right? It's not called a crown in English. Nope. Do you know what that's called? And the last one. There are 9 questions altogether. If you got lost, don't worry. We're going to go over them all now. We'll check out the comments. How would you say this sentence? No recibí ningunas tarjetas de Navidad. Ni una, ninguna. No recibí, no, ningunas no diría. Creo que lo he dicho mal en español. No recibí ninguna tarjeta de Navidad. How would you translate that sentence? And be careful, because tarjeta can be a false friend there. You know? All right, folks, let's go on over to the comments. We'll see how you guys are doing. Hope you guys are keeping warm. Unless you live like over in the Balearic Islands or the Canary Islands, and I hope you're keeping cool this Christmas. Hey, it's all a matter of perspective in life. All right, let's take a look over here. I've got so many people participating in the comments. Let's get a nice round of applause going for everybody. Excellent job, folks. I can see you guys are in the holiday spirit. This is great. And you're not only in the holiday spirit, but you know your stuff. Do you know this expression? You know your stuff is sabes de lo que hablas. Another way to say it is you know your shit, man. You really know your shit. You really know your stuff. Realmente sabes de lo que hablas. And if you remember in our first Christmas quiz, part 1, it was Laura who she took the cake, to take the cake, llevarse, se llevó la palma, I think you say, to take the cake. Oh, and speaking of cakes and goodies, manjares, don't forget to leave some snacks for Santa, Mommy and Daddy. Who do you think's eating those cookies? Me. But then the problem is I eat so many cookies that I toss my cookies. No, nobody got it. I eat so many cookies that I end up tossing, I end up tossing my cookies. Vomitar to toss. Okay, not funny. Hey, but it's a double trouble. But it's not time for double trouble. Let's go through today's pop quiz. I think I want to get some Christmas vibes going. So let's get some jingle bells over there. There we go. Now we're in the holiday spirit. Close your eyes. Imagine it's snowing. You're sitting around the fireplace, singing Christmas carols. And you guys in Spain, you're lucky. You get Santa and Los Reyes Magos. And how would we say Reyes Magos in English? Yes, the correct answer is 3 wise men. I've heard people say 3 Kings Day, but if we're referring to the 3 characters, the 3 figures in the Bible, we refer to them as the 3 wise men. And the 3 wise men bring gifts, or they come bearing gifts. To bear is llevar, portar. If you know the Constitution, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms in the United States, I'm saying. Okay, great. Let's see. Number 2. What is that thing you get if you're naughty? If you're not a good girl or good boy, you get coal. That's right, coal. Nobody wants to get a lump of coal. The good thing is I don't remember ever getting one, so I guess I was good enough, you know. All right, the next one. What do you call those round things that you hang on the Christmas tree? In the last quiz, we looked at candy canes, but no, we're referring to the ornaments. We call them ornaments in the United States. Now, I got to tell you something. Here, it doesn't give you that option. So, based on process of elimination, it's not Santa's balls, I can assure you, because there would be too many jokes, right? And it's not tree ballings, because that sounds a little bit silly. So the British call ornaments baubles, not bubbles, baubles. See, I'm even learning English here, mate. I'm learning English. I thought I knew English and I didn't. They're called bubbles in England. Oh, the Bobbies call them bubbles. Bobbies are los policías de ahí, and they call them baubles. All right. Now, how would my British friends call Santa Claus, as those Americans, those silly Americans, call him Santa Claus? It's not Santa Claus, you goofy Americans. It's Father Christmas. Sorry, but that sounds weird, maybe even paternalistic. Father Christmas. And remember, if you're British, you don't say father like I would say it. You say Father Christmas. It's Father Christmas. And remember, an abbreviation for Christmas is XMAS, right? If you don't feel like writing the word Christ, que no se pronuncia, aunque Christ es Cristo, Christmas is how we would pronounce it. I think you guys know that because you know the song. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm really in the holiday spirit, if you haven't noticed. But I'm waiting for that first snowfall. Why? I want to build a snowman. And my daughter, too. You know why? Frozen. What? Congelada? Well, yeah, the movie, Frozen. Yeah. Do you want to build a snowman? Yes, I want to build a snowman. It's a beautiful song. In fact, the music from that, well, in general, from these movies, beautiful, beautiful music. Do you want to build a snowman? We don't call it a snow doll or a man snow, que era una opción también. It's a snowman. If you didn't know it, then you got to watch Frozen. Hey, what better time of year to watch Frozen than right now at the holiday season? Oh, and by the way, I'll be sharing my favorite. Right now I'm compiling a list of my favorite Christmas movies, and I'll be sharing it with you guys. And you know, my My taste is movies that make you laugh, that make you chuckle. All right, let's finish up the quiz. The next one is reindeer. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. I told you before, if you were paying attention, you would have caught on. The next one, papel de regalo, is called wrapping paper. Not wrap like I was doing before, but wrapping like con W delante, de envolver, like el Mac wrap. And in McDonald's, they have the Mac wrap porque está envuelto. So we call it wrapping paper. See, I was trying to give you a clue there by wrapping. No, that's not true. The next one, la corona, is called a wreath. A wreath con W muda. Wreath is the word. And the last one, I didn't get any Christmas cards. Boo-hoo. Folks, we have to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with tons more Show with No Name, so stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of today's Show with No Name. Welcome back. Welcome back. Don't forget, folks, download the free Vaughn Radio app if you haven't done so. And this way you'll have access to all Vaughn Radio has to offer. We've got tons of programs all day long, and each one is one of a kind. I'm telling you, you can listen to Tosh Pasqua, and you'll learn so much. And then you can listen to Kyle Miller, and you'll learn so much, but with a totally different outlook, totally different accent, totally different experiences. And I think that's what makes Vaughn Radio unique. We try and represent all of the English-speaking world. We got our buddy Fitz. He's Irish. We got Tommy Hay. He's Scottish. And Ximena, London, mate. And we've got Jules right after this show. Man, you guys are lucky. I listened to her show, and it's excellent. It's Jules' show, Let's Get Random. And, folks, so many other shows here on Vaughn Radio to help you learn English. And not just learn English, but get hooked on English once and for all. De una vez por todas. Folks, let's move on to today's Say What? Say what? What? That's right, amigos. It's the Say What soundbite only on the Show with No Name. And here's where you're going to work on your listening. You're going to work on taking dictation. You're going to work on expressing yourself. There's so many different things that we're working on just in this section. And it's real simple. 4 listens. You got 4 shots, 4 chances. Lo mismo, oportunidades, to figure out what's being said. But initially, I just want you to tell me in your best English possible what you heard, okay? And again, if you can, you're only doing yourself a favor. Try and say whatever you said aloud. As always, I'll always make adjustments. I'll tweak. You know, if you make a mistake, I'll say, oh, cuidado, esto se pone aquí tú, no es gerundio, whatever. All right, my amigos. So everybody grab a pen, grab a notebook. You should have a notebook. If you're an organized student, you will have a notebook. I have different notebooks for all different things in my life. And, well, I don't have one for, oh, yes, I do. My notebook for Spanish is my phone, because when I usually learn something in Spanish, I don't have a pen. It's like I'm out there in the real world. Estoy en el metro, leo algo, and I'm like, oh, espera, wait. You know, so that's one where because of where I get my Spanish out there in the real world, I usually don't carry a pen around. I mean, when I'm traveling, yeah, I am a person who tends to have a pen on them. Que llevas uno encima, on them, right? But not always, not all the time. Although you should, you never know. What happens if you run out of battery and you got to write something down? Don't tell me you're going to remember it, because we've forgotten how to memorize things, I think. When I was a kid, we had to memorize things. You didn't have, and then we got speed dial. ¿Cómo se dice speed dial? Cuando das a un número y marca, número 2 es la abuela, número 3 es tal, right? All right, well, without any further ado, sin más, let's hear today's Say What soundbite for the first time. And I'm going to apologize in advance. This one is reserved exclusively for superstar students. Here we go, show with no namers, the Say What soundbite for the first time.
I started to tell them, but you know, I think it was a bunch of old people that didn't know what was going on, never had it, can't get it, don't know where to find it.
All right, there you go, my amigos. Whoa, definitely a unique voice there. Not the kind of voice you hear every day, I would say. You know, some kind of, I mean, obviously it's a celebrity, but I would say this person has star quality. Lo que nosotros decimos calidad de estrella. No tiene madera might be another way to say that, right? De estrella. Está hecho de estrella. You know, sometimes, remember, when I don't know it in Spanish, that's when you guys have to teach me Spanish. Hey, this is an exchange, right? I teach you English, and whenever possible, you can teach me Spanish, especially because I'm sure in one show, I put my foot in my mouth a few different times in Spanish. When I'm with my cousin Fran down in Almeria, he reminds me of how I still haven't mastered the subjunctive. And how does he do that? Because he is on top of me. Está encima. He's like, ¿cómo? Pero he corrects I don't think my wife does. I think my wife's like, okay, I got you. But my cousin Fran, he's also a teacher. He doesn't let one go. And that's what Vaughn teachers are like, by the way. You know, in our classes, we're nice. We're usually friendly. I mean, you have to be a people person, alguien que le gusta la gente. But also Vaughn teachers are trained by Fitz and his team to be strict. Because, well, do you want a teacher who lets you just do whatever? Or a teacher's like, trust me, I have a plan, but you got to work with me here, you know? You got to make progress. I'm going to hold you accountable. Tú vas a ser responsable por tu progreso. And I always tell people that. You can have the best teacher or the worst teacher in the world. That's never going to be your excuse. You're the teacher can help in motivation. The teacher can also identify what your mistakes are. I think that's one of the greatest things about having, a personal private teacher just to yourself. That teacher knows what mistakes you're going to make before you make them. I know it because I've had private students, many all throughout my teaching career. and you know them. I know. I should say I know all of you guys. I'm like Santa. I'm making a list. I'm checking it twice. I'm gonna find out who's naughty and nice. Now, I imagine all of you guys are going to be getting nice gifts. You're not going to be getting coal, carbon, as we learned in today's quiz. All right, let's hear this again for the second time. Guys, write down what you hear.
I started to tell them. But you know, I think it was a bunch of old people that didn't know what was going on, never had it, can't get it, don't know where to find it.
All right, so there we go, amigos. Now, I'm also going to tell you something. There's a native mistake in there. Un error que cometería un nativo en inglés. Okay, en inglés americano. Bueno, en ambos, en británico también, yo creo a veces lo usamos aposta para dar énfasis. Okay, I'm giving you a huge clue here. So today, aside from just telling me what you heard and analyzing it, and obviously giving me word for word, I want you to find the native mistake. Again, this person was born in an English-speaking country, so they know how to speak, but there's a problem there if you're a grammar purist. And since this is an English class, I want to see if you can point out that mistake. Si podéis señalar el error. All right? What else? Also, if you tell me the person's from the United States, which I think in this case it is, it's not the same to be from, I don't know, somewhere like Louisiana or as, California, as Chicago, as New York. Every single place I just said has their own accent. So just bear in mind, there isn't an American accent per se. There isn't a British accent per se. I always use the example of London. I mean, how many accents are there? Hey, why am I asking you guys? Or why am I asking hypothetically? How many accents in London? Let's see if Google's as smart. Okay. There are almost 40 different dialects, they call them, in the UK that sound totally different from each other. Totally. No dice different. But I'm reading word for word, okay? The internet never lies. Es broma. So that sound totally different from each other. Now, esto es interesante. El different se puede usar con different to or different from, okay? This is different from that, or this is different to that. El different to is más británico. So that sound totally different from each other. In many cases, they use different spellings and word structure. In fact, there's pretty much one accent per county, por cada condado. So that's pretty crazy. They got the Geordie, the Scouse. Geordie is the Newcastle. We used to have a DJ, a teacher here on Vaughan Radio, Jim Trainer, wonderful guy, amazing voice, and God rest his soul. He was one of my inspirations when I got here, and he helped me right away. He accepted me as his his new companion on Vaughan Radio. And then you got the Scouse accent, which is Liverpool. You got Yorkshire, que americanos decimos Yorkshire. You got Welsh, Brummie. Brummie is from Essex. And this is when they say, hello. Instead, I'm not too familiar with these. We'd have to get like Rob Graham's or maybe like Ximena. You've got Essex. You've got Cockney, which is Cockney is where they just cut letters. Yeah. So there is no British accent, so to speak, and there's no American accent. Let me see if I can do a couple American ones for you. And remember, please do try and imitate if you can, because if you can imitate it, then that's a wonderful thing. Don't ever underestimate imitation in language learning, right? It's so important. It's crucial. You say crucial, we say crucial. It is crucial in language learning. All right. So, what were we? Oh, some American ones. Let's see. I'm just going to imitate people I know from different places. My friend Jeff Shirk in Chicago, he came to our high school. He transferred there, and he used to always say, back in Chicago, we used to always go down and play basketball down in Chicago because I had a longer kind of way of saying it like this. You know, they kind of extended it, and it sounds a little bit more nasal. Also, I'm thinking of Mike Myers. There's a famous sketch, and it's a sketch that's revisited on Saturday Night Live with Mike Myers is in one of them. There are many different ones. Just search for Da Bears. Da Bears. Que el equipo de fútbol de Chicago is the Chicago Bears. But I mean, they overdo it, se pasan, but you can get an idea of the Chicago accent. Let me try and imitate them. He goes, today we're here to talk about the Bears, the Bulls, and the Bears, and the Bulls. It's hysterical. I mean, it's a very, very famous reoccurring sketch on Saturday Night Live, and it plays with that accent. Boston. I spent the weekend down in Boston. No, let me see. I parked the car. The famous Boston accent is, I parked the car at Harvard Yard. Now, again, I'm imitating it to the best of my ability. I'm no expert here. Okay? So, I parked the car at Harvard Yard. I parked the car at Harvard Yard en el patio de Harvard. Oh my God. Hey, as I said, there are as many dialects, accents. I think it's beautiful. One of my favorite things. So never underestimate the power of imitation. Folks, it's time to move on to today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
That's right, folks. Don't get stung by the spelling bee. You never know where it's going to come from. The spelling bee. That's right. It's got a stinger. A stinger is the thing that stings. No sé cómo se dice eso. Vamos a mirarlo. See, guys, I always say this on the show. You guys aren't the only ones learning here. Stinger. Uy, 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 uy. Me he metido aquí en un agujero negro. Aguijón. Is that correct? Agujero, aguijón. También es un cóctel de brandy. I didn't know that. A stinger. I guess it's not too, I don't think it's too popular. Also, a stinger is una púa. I didn't know this one. I guess it makes sense because it's, speaking of, it's British. It's a spike strip. Okay, so a stinger. Yeah, we call it in the States a spike strip. And they call it a stinger. It's this thing that the bobbies, the cops, we say the cops, they say the bobbies. It's the thing that the bobbies put down on the road when they want to stop a car. And basically, it'll pop the tires of the car. Oh, wait, we don't call them tires. I don't think, oh, no, ellos sí. Ellos lo llaman tires a los neumáticos, pero ellos lo escriben con Y y nosotros con Y latina. British people are weird. Oh, did I just say that out loud? Well, not really. I whispered it. I said it under my breath. All right, guys, we're going to take a look at today's spelling bee now. I'm going to spell some things for you right now. And what I want you to do is see if you can write them down. Now, I am gonna fly. You know how I do this on the first round. I am ruthless, despiadado. I'm ruthless on the first round. The second round, I'm Mr. Nice Guy. So, vamos a ponerlo en términos de Santa Claus. In the first round, I'm naughty. In the second round, I'm very nice. All right? As always, write these words down. I'll tell you right now, they start with a capital letter. Here we go with round one. The first word is EGYPT. The second one is SYRIA. The next one is LIBYA. The next one is ALGERIA. The next one is IRAQ. And the last one is SOUTH space YEMEN. What? Yeah, I told you I was going to be naughty. I told you I was going to misbehave, right? To misbehave, comportarme mal. Hey, I'm not always a good boy. I got to be honest. Sometimes I like to misbehave. Sometimes I like to be a little bit naughty. Don't we all? No nos gusta a todos. Oh, you can't be a good boy all the time. You know, it reminds me of the Shining, El Resplandor. All work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy. I think you say, por mucho que amanece. It's a weird one. You guys don't. We say, si es todo trabajo y nunca juega, eso hace que Jack sea un chico muy aburrido. He writes it on the board, I believe, or in his book. Or no, I think he types it. All work, no play makes Jack a very dull boy. All right. Let's see if anybody got these over here. We'll go on over to our chat room. And ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Alex. Well, they look right to me. Capital letters, all the spaces. Nice job. Nice job. I went really fast. And as I look at these words, I'm realizing these are full of vowels, vocales. They're full of vowels, chock full, repletos, chock full of vowels, and the tough ones, los difíciles, la A, la E, la I. These are the ones I've noticed my students have the most difficulty with. Hey, just saying. But not Alex. She nailed it on the first go. All right, let's go with round two of today's Spelling Bee. This is me being Mr. Nice Guy. That's right. The kind of person you like having next to you. The kind of person you like to get on the phone, right? But unfortunately, we can't always choose that because you're going to have people. I've had it here in Spain where, you know, people are just like, you know, not letting me finish my sentence. They, you know, jump, and I'm just like, I'm feeling attacked over here. And all I need is to get some help. And then you have people who are so helpful, like, okay, Señor Alonso, vamos a ver, dame esto, you know. So some people act like they're doing you a favor. Hey, you get a little bit of everything in life. Some people act like they're doing you a favor, and some people act like they're just doing their duty as a human. And we all know which ones are nicer, but you're not always going to get those. So here on the show, we prepare you for the real world. Siempre me río con esa frase, the real world. All right, round two, folks. The first, these are countries, if you haven't realized it yet. The first country is EGYPT. The second one is SYRIA. The next one is LIBYA. The next one is ALGERIA. The following one is IRAQ. And the last one is, SOUTH space YEMEN. All right, I can't go too much slower than that because then we're going back to basics, which is the name of Tosh Pasqua's show. You guys know she's an amazing, amazing person. As I said, one thing all of the Vaughn teachers have in common, you know, we may all have different life experiences. We may all have different accents and all that stuff, but we are all good people. I really believe that. I believe that I'm surrounded by, I'm surrounded by great people here at work and of course, my students as well. I'm not just talking about my colleagues at Vaughn Radio. which, oh man, we had a great time last week. Thanks again to all of you guys who came out to the trivia night. Now, as we know, we have to wait until, I don't know, I imagine we won't have one until, let me write that down. See, I told you I write things down all the time. I'm going to write this down and I'm going to ask Rob because maybe there'll be one in mid January. It doesn't make sense to have one in early January because you guys celebrate Reyes. That's an interesting thing, too. You guys don't realize that. Don't take that for granted. No lo infravalores, no lo des por sentado. But you guys have a lot longer Christmas holiday. Ours is, it starts the 24th, and the 25th is Christmas Day. So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, right? And you're back to work on the 26th. Then the 31st and the 1st, you have off on the 1st. Obviously depends on your job. But in general, some people have off on the 1st, New Year's Day. On New Year's Day, like the U2 song, right? And that's it. You start the new year like, let's go right back to work. But here, you guys get that extra week. Well, you guys, I'm part of you now. I live here. But it's nice. Don't take it for granted that, you get you can really enjoy that first week. The holiday lingers on. I love this word, linger, excuse me. Lingr. Isn't that funny about English? Linger, finger, singer. I don't know, but there's one that didn't sound the same there. I don't remember. I know there was a play on words there, but I didn't know which one. Linger, you probably know from a Cranberry song, Los Arándanos. Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger? You know I'm such a fool for you. You got me wrapped around your finger. All right. Well, my amigos, linger, quedarse atrás, which can also be sobrevivir, durar. O sea, lo hacéis permanecer, perdurar. I think great word. And if you don't know that song, it's also an awesome song. But folks, I'm realizing we have to take a quick commercial break over here. I can't believe it. Time is just flying by on today's show, as it always does. But we'll be back in a flash, en un plis plas, with tons more Show with No Name. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the show with no name. I can't believe we're in the second half, the third part. Call it what you will. It's flying by. Thank you. Thank you for learning and laughing with me every day here on the show with no name. Wishing you and your family a happy holiday. Merry Christmas, or as the British say, Happy Christmas. So wait a second. The British say, Father Christmas wished me a happy Christmas. And we would say, Santa Claus wished me a Merry Christmas. Oh my God. Well, as you can see, we don't agree on anything. We don't even agree on Christmas, my amigos. All right, well, we have a lot to do here on today's show. So let's get rocking and rolling with today's homophones.
Homophones, homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
The show with no name. That's right, amigos. It's homophones only on the show with no name. And as always, you're going to get two words that might be a bit tricky. Maybe not. Maybe you'll know them and you'll say, come on, man, you're not going to fool me. A mí no me engañas. But maybe not. Maybe you're unsure. Well, either way, I urge you to participate. And remember, this is the most important part of this whole section here is repeating the vocabulary aloud. Once I say it, I want you to say it with me. But remember, say it right when I say it, because obviously it's easier to imitate something when we have proximity to it. The moment like if I say, bam, makahala, 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 if you say it right after, it's going to be easier than if you wait 10 seconds or 5 seconds. So there, I can't stress the importance of imitation, as I said before, and then proximity. So say it when you hear it, because every second that passes by, our brain, becomes more of a distant memory, if you catch my drift. Si me pillas el hilo. All right, so here is today's homophones, or not. You tell me. The first word is madera. Madera, very common material used in building, used to make furniture. Mira, hablando de palabras que hay que pronunciar en voz alta. Furniture. No es furniture. Furniture. Right? You can get furniture made out of this stuff. Okay? Very, very common word. I think it's a word you're all familiar with. Okay? And the second word is a verb, an auxiliary verb or modal verb that we would use when we use the ia in Spanish. So, comería, iría. What is the word that would go between I and go? Yo iría si tú fueras. So, I go. Ahí falta algo para que es el ia, como lo digo yo. Hay truquitos ahí. Mira, el la palabra que buscamos es la palabra, la terminación, the suffix ia in Spanish. Comería, iría, cantaría otro gallo. Right? What is that word that would go between the subject and the verb, that modal verb, those verbs that help the other verb? We got a lot of those in English, but they also make the grammar very, very simple, right? Because in Spanish, iré. Okay, so voy, iré. Doesn't even look like the same verb. I go, I will go. In Spanish, in English, I go, I will go. Solo tienes que añadir una palabra. You don't have to learn another word. So you might say, oh, I hate these auxiliary verbs, these modal verbs, but they're the key to what makes English easy, I think, grammatically speaking, of course. All right. And while you guys are figuring that out, I'm going to give you today's Say What soundbite for the third time. Please write down what you hear.
I started to tell them. But I think it was a bunch of old people that didn't know what was going on, never had it, can't get it, don't know where to find it.
That's right, folks. All right. We'll see if anybody can figure that out. As I said, it's a tough one today. There's one word in there that I think is going to give everybody some difficulty. Well, I think it's one of the early words. Do you guys agree? There's a word there, he says at the beginning, that might sound like another word. We'll take a look at it. I don't want to give you too much information. All right, let's take a look at our homophones. So I got some people participating over here. Let's see. The first person to participate, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Mila. Mila, nice job. Awesome. She nailed it. The first word is wood. Wood. W-O-O-D. I have never, ever heard my students mispronounce this word. Ever. Wood. Nunca. My students always say this word right. Maybe say wood. Maybe they make it un poco más O, pero en general, les sale la palabra madera en inglés. Right? Sin embargo, la segunda palabra, el ia, as we just said, he oído todo menos eso. Y la verdad es que suenan exactamente igual, as Mila just said. She said they are homophones. And there's a very famous, I think we've done it a million times here on the show. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? What? Well, there's a second part. As much wood as a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood. Kaya, get out of here. Well, it shows you that the word wood, el ia, el condicional, que se usa en el primer condicional, no, segundo condicional, excuse me, second conditional, my bad, the present conditional. Yeah, I hate to get grammatical on you here, but let's call it what it is. So how much wood, inténtalo conmigo, vamos lento. What we're going to do is we're going to slow it down a bit here. If we slow it down, then you guys can follow. Remember, proximity. How much wood? Primero tenemos que visualizarlo, así que vamos a traducirlo. How much wood? ¿Cuánta madera? Would a woodchuck chuck? Okay, so how much wood? Would a woodchuck, y a woodchuck, como lo traducen aquí? Vamos a ver. Chuck. Woodchuck. A woodchuck is marmota. Okay. So it's not a beaver. A beaver son los beavers chuck wood, right? You say beaver. Tengo que mirar estas palabras. Beaver is castor, which can also have a secondary meaning for the vagina. Hey, don't shoot the messenger, right? There's actually a scene, hay una escena in The Naked Gun, agárralo como puedas, where she's Priscilla Presley's character is climbing up the ladder, and Leslie Nielsen, Frank Drebin is the character. He says, "Nice beaver. Me gusta tu castor." And she says, "Oh, thank you. I just had it stuffed." Y saca un castor que está relleno. Get the joke now? If you haven't seen The Naked Gun, those kind of movies are great because they are really chock full of amazing visual gags, puns, no juegos de palabras. And we're going to go to name that movie in just a moment, in fact. So how much, ahora que vamos a visualizarlo, as I said, so how much wood would a woodchuck chuck? Entonces, ¿cuánta madera roería? I think you say like to chuck con los dientes, right? How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood, right? As much wood, tanta madera, as a woodchuck could chuck. Pues la cantidad de madera que una marmota podría, sí podría hacer eso a la madera. So you get it now? I mean, it's really difficult, but once you can visualize it, that's what helped me. Tres tristes tigres, ¿ves? No. A ver, tres tristes tigres comieron trigo en un trigal. Tres tristes tigres comieron trigo en un trigal. Me cuesta. It's difficult, believe me, I know. I feel your pain. So ready? Let's go slow and then we'll speed up. How much? Vamos solo a hacer la primera parte, no hay que dar la respuesta. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Again, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? All right. And remember, we've got so many tongue twisters in the language. Sally sells seashells down by the seashore. What? Yeah. Sally vende conchas al lado de la orilla del mar. Y lo puedes hacer como una pregunta. Does Sally still sell seashells down by the seashore? What? Esto es para practicar la diferencia entre S y SH. Does Sally, vamos a decir esta lentamente. Does Sally still sell seashells by the seashore? Does Sally still sell seashells by the seashore? All you have to do is practice them, right? First, visualize. If you can visualize it, then it's a lot easier. Let's see. Esta ice cream, you scream, we all scream. Esa no es un tongue twister. A ver, otras. I'm looking at ones that are a little more challenging. There's one about how, which is which. Let me see. Which, porque which es bruja, pero también es cual. So let's see. See, all these tongue twisters are basically playing with homophones. Here it is. If two witches, primero visualizamos todo, antes de intentar decirlo rápido ni nada de eso. If two witches would watch, two watches, si dos brujas mirasen a dos, o vigilasen a dos relojes, which witch, cuál bruja, would watch which watch? Vigilaría cuál de los relojes. Es difícil visualizarlo. Okay? So, let's go slow. If two witches would watch two watches, which witch would watch which watch? Whew. Sounds like we're speaking another language here, doesn't it? All right, guys, practice those. Practice those tongue twisters on your own. It's a real way to know that you're, that you've mastered the language, all the different sounds, and being able to put your sounds together quickly. This is a warm-up we used when I was studying acting, interpretación. We would warm up, calentaríamos con tongue twisters to just make sure everything was flowing and going the way it needed to go. Because you don't want to get tongue-tied, hablando de tongue. So a tongue twister es algo que te traba la lengua. Pero si decimos, se me trabó la lengua al decir eso, que es algo muy normal cuando estás pensando algo y la cabeza va por un lado, right? And you say, so I just got tongue-tied. Es un poco diferente. A tongue twister is something you usually do on purpose. Or, oh man, you just made a little tongue twister there. But to get tongue-tied sería eso de, espera, no quería decir eso. Right? It happens to me on the show daily. Why? Well, I'm saying like thousands of different sentences and words. So sometimes my brain's going in one direction and my mind is going in another. But let's stay focused. We need to look at our spelling bee words. And by the way, a nice round of applause to all of you. So many people participating here. Take a little lesson here on geography now. Not really. We're not going to do a geography lesson. But today's words were countries. And I chose all countries that were involved in the breaking of diplomatic relations, okay, relaciones diplomáticas, with Syria, Libya, Algeria, Iraq, and South Yemen. Vamos a repetirlo. So Syria, you say Syria, we say Syria. Are you serious about Syria? Syria. You say Libya, we say Libya. I think that's about the same. Libya. Algeria, you say? We say Algeria. Algeria. Iraq. Okay, you say Iraq. So it's a little bit similar. And South Yemen. And who broke diplomatic relations with these countries? The first country we mentioned, the number one on our spelling bee list today, which was Egypt. And be careful, because this is the one I've heard mispronounced the most. Egypt. It's not Egypt, it's Egypt. All right, guys. So let's move on to the movies.
Name that movie.
That's right. That's right. It's Name That Movie only on the show with no name. Oh, and I forgot to tell you guys, madera, tener madera. We said it before. We were talking about tener madera. I told you one way to say it. Well, another way to say it is he has a knack for playing the guitar. He has a knack, or she has a knack for telling jokes, contando chistes, right? To have a knack, tener madera. Es el grupo, hay un grupo de música que se llama The Knack. My Sharona. Es una K muda. Okay, The Knack. So I wanted to tell you that other meaning. En Spanish. Yo cuando lo dice, tiene madera. I remember the first time I heard it in Spanish, I'm like, he has wood? Pues sabes algo? En inglés, to have wood, morning wood, or to have a woody. In fact, we looked at this last week. I remember looking at this. An erection is a woody. Hey, here I teach you everything, guys. You can use whatever vocabulary you want, but I'm going to teach it all to you. All right, let's take a look at today's Name That Movie, and we'll see if you guys can figure out what movie it is. Here's the trailer. The life of a divorced television writer dating a teenage girl. I don't like it. All right, I'll continue. Is further complicated when he falls in love with his best friend's mistress. So let me translate this for you. Guy can't keep it in his pants. Un tío no puede guardarlo en sus pantalones. Tiene que sacar la esta a todo momento. Me explico la esta, right? So yeah, sounds like a creepy guy, huh? I don't know if that's is this person supposed to be an attractive leading role? I don't know. Doesn't seem like a protagonist. Almost seems like an antagonist. You know, the life of La Vida de, it's simple, a divorced television writer. A writer es un escritor de tele, para guionista de tele, you would say, dating a teenage girl. That's again, you guys know my my views on this topic here, right? Dating, saliendo con una chica, teenager, adolescente, is further complicated when he falls in love with, se complica más, further, when he falls in love with his best friend's mistress. O sea, se enamora de la amante de su mejor amigo. So he's a perv. No matter how you look at it, this person is a perv. And we've got a winner over here. Please give it up for Jose Maria. Nice job. Nice job. It's Manhattan. It came out in 1979, Manhattan. And of course, who plays the role of that perverted writer who dates a teenage girl? Woody Allen. So do you think this is a bit autobiographical? He went out with a teenage girl, and it was his stepdaughter. Yeah, I don't know how people continue to, I mean, I like his move, again, like when we talked about Michael Jackson the other day. One thing is the artistry, but that is, I'm sorry, inexcusable behavior. This is why I used to like Woody Allen, especially when I was studying, filmmaking and acting. He's, as I said, one thing's his filmmaking. But the more I found out about this person, I'm like, what a repulsive individual. So I don't watch his movies anymore, to be honest. But Most of his movies have won awards. The best actors always work with him. So, I'm not going to take anything away from that, but I wouldn't, there are some famous people I would love to have a beer with. And this guy, I wouldn't even like to share the same room as him. He's just repulsive to me. So but either way, we're going to take a look at the scene here. One thing is my opinion. Another thing is learning English from him. We already know that his name, Woody, it isn't his real name, by the way. O sea, se ha dado el apodo. Let's put everything into perspective. A guy nicknamed himself Woody dates teenage girls and then writes movies about, teenage girls who are his stepdaughter, and then writes movies about it. Like, why are we okay with this? No, it's just weird. But these are the first lines of the movie. The movie came out in 1979. I was 2 years old. And the music playing is Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. And we hear a voiceover, and it's the character Isaac Davis, the writer, played by the neurotic Woody Allen, the perverted Woody Allen, the disgusting Woody Allen. Hey, just because we're looking at his movie doesn't mean I have to like him. I'll use your movies to teach English, but I don't have to like you. And he says, chapter 1, he adored New York City, right? Capítulo 1, adoró Nueva York. He adored New York City. Let's get some cityscape in there. He idolized it all out of proportion. No, lo sacó fuera de proporción. Y idolize es hacerlo como ídolo. Idolatrar, I think you say? I think I mispronounced that. Poner en un pedestal, right? We say to put on a pedestal, or to idolize, to idol. Bueno, idol es ídolo. So to idolize is poner en una pedestal. He goes, no, make that. He romanticized it all out of proportion. Better. No, to him, no matter what the season was, da igual que estación era, this was still a town that existed in black and white and pulsated to the great tunes of George Gershwin. No, let me start this over. I'm trying to make him as neurotic as he is. Chapter 1, and this is my best Woody Allen imitation. Chapter 1, he was too romantic about Manhattan. He was about everything else. He thrived to thrive, prosperar, alimentarse. He thrived on the hustle and bustle of the crowds and the traffic. The hustle and bustle, el ajetreo, el movimiento. It's very often words that are associated with New York City. He thrived on the hustle and bustle of the crowds and the traffic. To him, New York meant beautiful women and street-smart guys. Beautiful women, mujeres guapas, there he goes. And street-smart guys, chicos que tenían calle, que saben, tienen mundología, tienen calle. Street-smart guys who seemed to know all the angles, que conocían todos los ángulos, todas las perspectivas, cómo hacer las cosas. Corny, too corny, dice cursi, demasiado cursi. You know, my taste, let me try and make it more profound. So now this is the third attempt to start writing his novel. Chapter 1, he adored New York City. To him, it was a metaphor, metáfora, we say metaphor. It was a metaphor for the decay, la decadencia, the decay, vamos a ver, hay otra palabra también, decay. Decay, descomposición, deterioro, declive, decadencia. I said it right, good. A veces me sale, eh? So to him, it was a metaphor for the decay of contemporary culture. The same lack, carencia, the same lack of individual integrity that caused so many people to take the easy way out. Esta carencia de integridad individual que causó que tanta gente cogiera un atajo, to take the easy way out, intentar coger la manera fácil, ¿no? Think about it, to take the easy way out, to take a shortcut. And it was rapidly turning to the town of his dreams in, oh, no. It's going to be too preachy. And this is a good word too, que predica demasiado, tiene demasiada lección. I mean, let's face it, las cosas como son. Buena expresión. Let's face it, I want to sell some books here. So I think this is Woody Allen playing his same neurotic self as he's always done. But this movie, Manhattan, is a classic if you're into filmmaking. Again, another thing is my opinion about Señor Erección, Woody. Mucho Woody in Hollywood. What about Woody Harrelson? Ese sí que me gusta, eh? Guys, we'll be right back with the fourth and final part of today's show. So, stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of today's show. Thank you for being a part of it. You guys make my day every day. On a Monday, Tuesday, which, by the way, tomorrow's a holiday. No live show. Sorry. Right? When do we have holiday? Tuesday and Thursday? I'm going to check my calendar here. Wait a second. Maybe I'm giving you the wrong information. Seguro que lo sabéis vosotros más que yo. Let's see. Today is the 5th. Constitution Day. Oh, I love you, Spain. No live show tomorrow. Constitution Day. Happy Constitution Day to all my amigos. Then Wednesday, we got a live show. I'll see you on Wednesday. And then Thursday, the Immaculate Conception. I love this. Awesome. Well, I love having the shows. I love being here with you guys, but who doesn't like a day off? We don't say a free day. Remember, we say a day off. Un día libre is a day off. All right, amigos. Let's take a look at all the stuff we have to do over here because we've got a lot to do in the next 26 minutes, but now 25 minutes. So let's put the pedal to the metal with a section we call Double Trouble.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It's Double Trouble only on the show with no name. And here's where I give you a translation, and you have to use the same word twice. And I think this one might be tough. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think this one's going to be on the tough side. Un poco más difícil. I hope not. But, every time not just when I'm here presenting the content to you guys of our class, but also when I'm preparing it, I'm always constantly asking myself, is this too easy? Is this too hard? Is this just right? So, there's always that me asking myself what's best for my students. And if everything's too easy, then I'm like, well, that's not going to be a challenge. And everything is too hard, then you're going to give up. So it has to be, some things are easier than others, and also depends on the day. Some days double trouble is a mother, and other days, it's a breeze. So I guess that's representative of life itself. All right, my amigos, let's take a look at today's double trouble. It's caray. Vaya sinvergüenza. There it is. That's today's double trouble. Caray, like carajo, right? Vaya sinvergüenza. Remember, you have to use the same word twice in the double trouble section. And while you guys are figuring that out, I'm going to give you the Say What soundbite right now for the fourth and final time. Write down what you hear.
I started to tell them. But I think it was a bunch of old people that didn't know what was going on, never had it, can't get it, don't want to know where to find it.
All right, there you go, folks. We'll figure that out in just a little bit. We'll tell you who that is. I don't think anybody has gotten it yet over here. I'm looking in the comments. Well, you still have time. All right, let's go back to today's double trouble and take a look. Caray. Now, it's funny because don't you call Mariah Carey Mariah? No, you say Maria Caray. What do you call her? Se me olvida. Me lo dice mi mujer, me parto. She says Maria Caray. And I'm like, Mariah Carey. Bueno, pregúntale a ella. Right? So when I hear caray, that's what I think of. I think of the way you guys pronounce her last name. Que de hecho, se pronuncia. No, ella lo escribe E-Y. All I want for Christmas is you. Okay, we've already established that song's a little bit less annoying than, I didn't say it's not annoying. I said it's less annoying than Ya vienen los Reyes Magos, ya vienen. It's a little less repetitive, but you can learn a lot of really good vocabulary from that song. So remember, you can always turn your home or your office into a karaoke by going to YouTube and putting in All I Want for Christmas lyric video. And grab a pen, grab a bottle, grab whatever, and sing your heart out. Your poor neighbors. All right, let's take a look at today's double trouble and see if anybody has figured it out over here. Ladies and gentlemen, unbelievable. Please give it up for Paco. Caray. I guess eso es un buen momento, ¿no? Para decirlo. Caray. I got to admit, I've never, ever, ever used that in Spanish. Caray. I've never said carajo either. My dad said that. I remember my dad using, ¿Qué carajo es esto? Well, I think it sounds better than ¿Qué cojones? Maybe, being a little less vulgar. But sometimes, as I said, there's sometimes where you gotta be, you need the right word for the right situation, Nobody wants to be vulgar. But this isn't vulgar. Caray in Spanish isn't offensive. And Paco put, son of a gun. Son of a gun. ¿Qué? Hijo de una pistola? Well, remember I said sometimes we don't want to be vulgar, but we want to really, tell somebody, geez, no way. Right? And so instead of saying son of a bitch, you can say son of a gun. O sea, donde pones son of a bitch, que bitch es ofensivo, hay dos formas de que podemos suavizar esta palabrota. SOB, he's a real SOB. Y ahora vamos a llegar a eso, right? ¿Qué significamos como sustantivo? Because we've got an interjection and then we've got a noun. Okay, so let's use the good one, but just so you know, son of a gun is exactly the same as saying son of a bitch without the offensive word. In both senses of the word, en ambos sentidos, en ambos usos. So the first one is, caray, no me digas. Son of a gun. Ojo, pronunciación, no solo pronunciación, perdona, intonación. That's important here. Because it's not the same to say son of a gun. Eso es hijo de la gran. Right? But if you say son of a gun, remember, you're surprised. Right? Caray, no me di. Son of a gun. Son of a bitch. Que no es lo mismo decir, you son of a bitch. You son of a gun. You're a real son of a gun. You're a real son of a bitch. You know that? So, ¿ves cómo es muy diferente el tono de son of a gun? No jodas. You know, I think maybe that might be a translation. No me digas. Right? It's surprise. Es caray, caray. It says here caray. Yo digo caray porque ponen caray aquí. Y también, bueno, Mariah Carey. What do you want? So, son of a gun. Me gusta también porque rima, ¿no? Son of a gun. Y ojo, no es son como sol. It's son, hijo de una pistola, que son homófonos, right? The word son, hijo, S-O-N, and the word son, S-U-N, are homophones. I imagine you know that, but I've heard some people say, son, my son. I'm like, it's not son, it's sun, igual que el sol. My son likes to bathe in the sun, right? Le gusta tumbarse al sol. He likes to sunbathe. ¿Sabíais este verbo? To sunbathe, tomar el sol. All right, so son of a gun. No me digas. Son of a gun. I'm surprised. I didn't. We need to hear the surprise in your voice. And then the second part, it says sinvergüenza, infeliz, granuja. You say, this guy is a real son of a gun. Este es un sinvergüenza, right? It's not a good thing if somebody says that to you. So there you go. We use the same word 3 times there. Son of a gun. And bueno, it's a collocation, so it counts as one word. That's why I didn't want to confuse you and say it's a triple trouble. They're collocations. So the whole translation, caray, vaya sinvergüenza, son of a gun. What a son of a gun. ¿Ves la diferencia ahí? So important, guys, that tone. And you know where tone is very important too? When you're telling a joke.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what did the guy say when he walked into the bar? Ouch. Ouch. You get it? Ouch. He walked into the bar.
You're joking. That's right, folks. That's right. You're joking. And a nice round of applause really quickly for all of you. Doing a wonderful job. Excellent as always. I'm doing a show with my best friends. I hope they never let me down again. Don't worry, it's not time for Name That Lyric yet, but we're almost there. All right, well, here we go, my amigos. Today's joke is a couple jokes. In fact, I've strung together, juntado, a couple different jokes over here, and we'll see if you guys get these jokes. So, first joke. Why didn't the pilot follow the flight plan? Why didn't the pilot follow the flight plan? Okay. The pilot, el piloto, and flight plan, el plan de viaje. Tienes que ir a este coordinado, luego pasas por Toledo. You know, the flight plan, el plan de vuelo. I think they say the same thing. Now, they're called pilots and co-pilots, piloto, copiloto. But if you're a nerd like me, they're called the captain and the first officer. Comandante y el primer oficial, I think. You say the same, possibly? Pero bueno, la gente normal, no los frikis como yo, decimos pilot and co-pilot. So that's why I didn't say that. But hey, just in case we got any av geeks, I know we do have a lot of av geeks that listen to the show, a lot of people in the aviation industry. So a nice shout out to all our amigos. Hey, I'm telling you guys, we've got pilots, we've got baggage handlers, we've got crew members, we've got, customer service. I remember some of the earliest listeners I had were two lovely ladies who worked at Iberia. They were not elderly, they were a couple years away from retirement. And they used to listen from the Iberia headquarters, desde la sede de Iberia. And I was like, que chulo. And as I see on my Instagram and on my social media, I have a lot of people who work in the aviation. Well, if there's anybody who needs to be international and needs to know English, it's people in the aviation sector, right? What's the universal language for aviation? English. So thank you to all our people who keep this world moving. Honestly, that's what they do. And again, when I say the people in the aviation sector, I'm not just talking about the pilots. And I'm not just talking about the crew members. I'm talking about the grounds crew, the baggage handlers, everybody who makes that whole thing work, right? So let's get back to the joke. Why didn't the pilot follow the flight plan? Well, he just wanted to wing it. Did you get it? He just wanted to wing it. No? Well, the wing is la ala del avión, the wing. And the secondary meaning, to wing it. Do you know that? Improvisar, to wing it. No? Well, hey, if you didn't know the expression, I know a lot of people know the word wing, right? It's not one of these hard words to know. It's a basic one. Cuando aprendemos animales, birds have wings and ain't right. So it's a one that everybody knows. But to wing it means to improvise. So why didn't the pilot follow the flight plan? Eso es trabalengua. Speaking of tongue twisters, why didn't the pilot follow the flight plan? Joder, lo escrito yo, eh? I came up with these jokes, by the way. I swear to God. You want the next one? All right. So, yeah, he just wanted to wing it. He said he didn't want any tips from anyone. No? You didn't get the second? I got to say, these, sometimes I take them off the internet. I came up with these. I love aviation. So I was sitting here like, let me think of some funny puns, some punny words. He didn't want any tips from anyone. Okay, the tips are las puntas de las alas, right? Al final, those are the wing tips, but also tips es consejos. Bueno, también es propinas. He didn't want any tips. Okay, all right. Well, you know what? He was always flighty. Flighty? Well, flight is vuelo. So what does flighty mean? Inconstante, voluble, caprichoso, unreliable, que no puedes contar con él. You get it now? He was always very flighty. That's why he was winging it. And he didn't want any tips. Está todo conectado aquí también, la historia. All right. Well, you know what? I guess he was flighty. He was, some people are pretty normal, but this guy, he wasn't a plain guy. All right, last one. I promise. Plane. Did you get that? Plane is avión. Si quitas air, se puede decir airplane o plane. Pero si escribimos plane, P-L-A-I-N, es normal y corriente. Nada especial. He wasn't a plain guy. All right. I'll stop. But only because it's time for famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous
show with no name. Oi, oi, oi. Birthdays for him. Birthdays for her. Birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's famous birthdays only on the show with no name. Let's see if you guys can figure out who our birthday boys and girls are today. The first person was born in 1968 today. She is an American stand-up comedian, an actress, a social activist, and musician. So multifaceted, or as we would say, gifted, right? Gifted is another way of saying talented. Tiene madera, tiene dones. She has a knack for creative things, para usar la palabra de antes, right? And she rose to prominence after starring in a sitcom called All American Girl. And after that, people started to realize who she was. As an actress, she was in John Travolta. She played opposite John Travolta. Well, she played not opposite him, because that was Nicolas Cage, but she played an FBI colleague of his in the movie Face Off, que es buena la traducción ahí. Face Off es enfrentarse, but also Face Off es quitarse la cara, no? Face Off. So you get that double meaning there. And she's been in so many movies. She's been on TV. She has comedy shows that are huge, and she is of Asian descent as well. Remember, you say asiático, but we say Asian. And her family is Korean, in fact, right? Korean. So she has drawn a lot of attention to the plight of Asian Americans, and plight is el apuro, el aprieto, that Asians in the United States. Well, I got to say, though, too, Asians in the United States, I know a lot of very successful Asians in the United States. And she's just another example of that. And I think it's wonderful. Number two, this person was born in 1912. Or wait a second, maybe it wasn't 1912. Maybe it was 1908. Nah, maybe it was 1897. All right, well, if we don't know the year, then where was this person born? Well, I think if it was 1912, it was Greenwood, Mississippi. If it was 1897, it was Glendora, Mississippi. If it was 1920, well, then, no, if it was 1912, then it would have been at Tutwiler, Mississippi. So what does this tell you? We're talking about a blues musician. An interesting thing about blues musicians, nobody knows. They're like living legends, but they're like myths, like they never existed. Remember, a lot of these people were slaves, right? They had owners, tenían amos. So they didn't even know their original names. They didn't have any birth certificates or any, nobody knew their real birthday or their real age. Nobody even knows where they're buried. One of the greatest blues legends ever, Robert Johnson, the one who sold his soul to the devil. He's got, I think, 3 or 4 different graves. I saw 2 of them. So that's what I mean. There's so much lore around these blues musicians. And his name, si lo traduces, his stage name was Hijo Chico, y no te puedo decir el resto porque es su apellido. All right. And last but not least, this guy was the guy who taught us a good golly, Miss Molly, or Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy, Tutti Frutti, oh Rudy. Some people called him the architect of rock and roll. This guy paved the way for artists such as Elvis. I mean, these were people who were already working on that sound, and they were taking that rhythm and blues and mixing it with soul and funk. And this is probably one of those entertainers that is timeless. He died in May 9th, 2020. And that day, the world lost a legend. All right, let's see today's famous birthday boys and girls. Number 1, my amigos, Margaret Cho. Number 2, Sonny Boy Williamson II. Because, also he had other names. Alec Miller, Rice Miller, Little Boy Blue. See, you try and catalog all the blues artists. It's impossible. It's interesting, this phenomena. And last but not least, good golly, Miss Molly. Good golly, madre mia. Good golly, Miss Molly. Little Richard. And this will bring us over to our Say What soundbite. It is Little Richard. They call him the architect of rock and roll. And he was being asked in an interview why it took so long to get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. ¿Por qué tardó tanto? Y él dijo, he said, yo iba a ir ahí a decírselo a esta gente, que yo no los entiendo por qué están tardando. He was being very, very funny on the show. And he goes, I sought to tell him. Now, to seek to do something is buscar hacerlo. Entonces, yo al principio pensaba que era I thought to tell him, but it's I sought. So seek, sought. I sought to tell him, but I think it was a bunch of old people. Creo que los que deciden eso eran unos viejos that didn't know what was going on, que no sabían qué ocurría. Never had it, can't get it. They never had it, nunca lo tuvieron, el sexo, dice. Can't get it, no lo pueden conseguir. And don't want nobody to find it. Ahora ahí está el error. Don't want nobody. Don't y nobody es doble negación. Sería don't want anybody to find it. Y no quiere que otra persona lo encuentre tampoco. So he's talking about these party poopers. This is Little Richard.
I sought to tell him, but I think it was a bunch of old people that didn't know what was going on, never had it, can't get it, don't know where to find it.
All right, folks, and now it's time for the final section. Name that lyric.
Hi, hello, Alberto. I think the song is. No? Sorry, bye.
Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Name that lyric. Only on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. Name that lyric. Only on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. It's name that lyric. Only on the show with no name.
That's right, amigos. It's Name That Lyric, only on the show with no name. And this is the last section, and we only have a minute, so I can't even go over. We have less than a minute. So I'll give you the song. The song is Steve Aoki. We didn't have time to do it the other day, and the song is called Turbulence. Guys, if this doesn't wake you up on this Monday morning, I don't know what will. Thank you so much for being here. Seriously, it's an absolute pleasure and honor to be with you guys every day. Keep up the great work and hold on to your hats, because as this song says, we've got turbulence. Fijaos, you say turbulencia, we say turbulence. Well, here we go, folks. It is time for takeoff. At the beginning of the show, we had liftoff. This is takeoff. Thank you, folks. See you on Wednesday.